Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Autism in Action podcast. Today, we have got another special guest. We have got Mr. Chris Hanson with Life Skills Advocate. His website is lifeskillsadvocate.com, and he is going to share with us all about the amazing work that he is doing in the special needs community. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, Chris.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
I can't wait to learn all about what Life Skills Advocate is doing in your community. You guys are in Seattle, Washington, in that area.
Absolutely. Yep.
And what is it that Life Skills Advocate does?
So Life Skills Advocate is a company I started back in September of last year after about 8 years or so in the classroom as a special ed teacher and paraeducator. But Life Skills Advocate is focused on four main things, and that's number one, life coaching, number two, job coaching, three, academic support, and number four is community support. And so it really encompasses all those different things that are necessary for individuals age 14 and up to help them transition into adulthood. And so what I like to think of it as for each of those things is the focus is on executive functioning. So anytime we're doing academic support, for example, we're looking and seeing not just on the tutoring side, on the content side, but we're also looking, how do you organize your class assignments? How do you stay on track with due dates? And how do you break apart individual assignments? And just kind of, and how do you apply for financial aid? How do you ask a difficult question in class that maybe other people don't agree with? So there's a number of different ways that we support across those four pillars, but mostly it comes back to executive functioning support.
Well, that is so needed. I know it's needed in our community, and I know it's needed everywhere, really, quite honestly. There is a lot of very technical learned skills that are needed across those four areas. So with the job coaching, let's break it down a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more in depth about that service.
Yeah, so job coaching, I like to think of it as just the full end-to-end process. So if somebody comes to me and they don't have any idea what it takes to get a job, I'm happy to walk them through that process, all starting from pre-vocational skills like soft skills like interviewing and resume building and job exploration and like how do you actually find a job, to going to actual job locations and doing outreach with hiring managers or whoever is doing the hiring and getting input directly from them. We do job shadowing. We also do volunteering. I have one client, I volunteer with him at the Issaquah Food Bank, and he's stocking shelves there and doing a really nice job with faded support. And then once somebody has a job that works for them and we find things that really are a good fit, that's really the key on both ends, the employer and the employee side. From there, I can provide faded on-site support in a variety of different ways based on the client's individual needs. And also follow up and tweaking and working with the hiring managers and or not just the hiring managers, but the staff at, say, like a Mod Pizza or a restaurant, wherever you might be living, to make the environment adaptable to the individual.
So that's really awesome. That really takes the environment and it makes it a accommodating place. A lot of, I think, employers need the insight on what would allow them to be an inclusive employer.
Absolutely, and a shout out to Mod Pizza in particular, because they are really great about working with the special needs community and even creating custom jobs for individuals. Also, LA Fitness is one that I'm really been impressed with so far in working with them.
Awesome. So. Now, with another avenue, another service that you have, the life coaching, tell us a little bit more in depth about that.
This is such a broad term, but I think just in general, we can say that life coaching is everything that deals with the home and kind of independent living skills. So I'll give you an example. One client I'm working with where he wakes up in the morning and he like immediately feels overwhelmed and he doesn't know how to start his day, and he's just got so much anxiety about his day in general, and then therefore nothing really ends up getting done. So what we've done is we've built a morning routine for him, something something that he can follow independently. After we did some support, we faded that support. Now he's able to do it independently. Things like taking his meds, getting a drink of water, walking the dog, doing 20 push-ups, and doing having breakfast, and doing that every day, and really just kind of owning that process. And then, after that, we work on any number of things like learning how to do chores around the house, learning how to pay your bills, how to access your bank records, all sorts of different skills that are just that some of us take for granted as typically neurotypical, I guess, adults. And so, yeah, drilling into those skills specifically and teaching them.
And then in terms of academic support, is that for high school? Is that for college, or all of the above?
All of the above. I start age 14 and up. And the reason I chose 14 is because generally when students turn 14, the transition goals start to appear on their IEPs. And I think that's just a great age to start thinking about the transition to adulthood.
Absolutely. And those transitional goals, can you give us some examples of what those might look like?
So yeah, on the IEP, you have your age-appropriate transition assessment, which is one of the many documents that parents are given throughout the IEP process. And one of the goals might be something to the effect of Tasha will trial 4 jobs with partial physical assistance getting to and from the job location by X date. That's just off the top of my head, but there's any number of things that can be in the transition portion of the IEP related to goals. So. And
then with the last service that you offer, the community support, what does that entail?
So that is, for example, things like learning how to ride Metro would be something. Learning how to do your grocery shopping, planning for and actually doing the grocery shopping itself, participating in recreational activities, dealing with social anxiety, things like ordering coffee at Starbucks. Sometimes that can be extremely challenging for some of my clients.
Yes.
So really practicing those things, getting comfortable out in open spaces, finding strategies to deal with crowds, and then being a good self-advocate, like saying, okay, this crowd is way too overwhelming for me. I need to leave, and knowing when it's time to say that, as opposed to just feeling you have to appease others. So, and then also, on the other side of that, learning how to tolerate things, even when you really don't have much of a choice of being at a location that you don't want to be. What are some things you can do when you have to be there? Like, for example, like headphones, or you can have a mantra. One of my clients has a mantra that he uses that's really helpful. So, yeah, there's a lot of different things. Yeah.
In the counseling world, we call that distress tolerance.
Yeah.
And those distress tolerance skills are very important, because the world is going to continue on, right? And life happens. Right. And there may be some social activities that we have to engage in. I know, as for an example, my youngest son is 7, and we just had his birthday party. And so for my 2 older boys that are on the spectrum to go to the skating rink and participate, and to know when to take those breaks and step outside and step out so that they can regulate and get back to a calm state again, that's very important. So I think that's just incredible that you are helping these individuals learn how to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been enjoyable for me too.
Mm-hmm. So you do this full time now, and all your services are listed at the lifeskillsadvocate.com website. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners today?
Yeah, pretty soon I'm going to be offering social groups, opportunities for people to gather in interest-based social groups. So like if we have like a board game social group, or we could have like a bowling, or maybe a landscaping, or I haven't actually planned it out to that level of detail yet, but I'm going to have a resource fair coming up where I'm going to be surveying patrons and getting their input on what types of interests we'll be providing social groups for. And then on top of that, my wife and I are pregnant right now. So
congratulations! How exciting!
Thank you.